Hey, what's up, guys? So today I just wanted to make a video on why it's important to focus on earning more, not just spending less. So, we get into the trap of, trying to save $5 on coffee, every single day, or trying to save an extra, $10 by, or $20 by not going to, maybe buy food outside, or maybe save 20 extra dollars a month on, getting a cheaper gym membership or something like that, which is actually really good, if you can live below your means. But it doesn't have to be to the point where you're spending less to extreme amounts where you have a low quality of life. Your life satisfaction is not really great. Like I said in another video with the FIRE movement, what you should do is focus on earning more. Right? Like, even if you think about it, in your own life, right? Like, the times when you were earning more money, you may have kind of been could have been a little bit more careless, where you maybe spent an extra couple $100 on shoes, or an extra 150 on this, or an extra $300 on this, because you had the money coming in. But you may have felt a lot more at peace, a lot more satisfied and safe, knowing that you had different income streams. Maybe you had 3 different jobs, and you had money coming in this job, money coming in from that job, money coming in from that job. So you felt a lot more at peace, a lot more comfortable. And that's actually very important. It's a very important thing, because when you can earn more money, you can do more with it, right? You can invest more of it. You can purchase more, you can purchase real estate, you can purchase stocks, you can save at a quicker rate. So it's very important to focus on earning more money. Now, the problem with earning more money is that you may have to do some skills. You may have to get your skill set higher. You may have to get higher skill sets. And when you're getting higher skill sets, sometimes they don't pay you immediately, right? They're not going to pay you, depending on if you're doing like a trade. But most of the time, the skill set is free. You have to, you have to go to classes. You have to go to through mentorship. You have to kind of learn on your own through trial and error. You have to kind of upgrade your skills, especially, like, let's say, for example, you want to be a graphics designer, right? You kind of have to watch the YouTube tutorials, practice, and it's going to take months and months and years. But that's okay, because you have to have that time where you're in the grind mode. You have to have that time where you kind of are going through that struggle mode, where you kind of need to find ways on how you can scrape 2 coins together to be able to get to and from point A or point B. And that's okay. It's going to take, sometimes it might take 10 years. That process might be 10 years, where you're trying to scrape coins together to pay rent, or you're just trying to scrape coins together to be able to afford groceries. And that might be a 10-year process, but it's all a part of the game, and it's all part of putting in your dues, right? Like, that's what a lot of people want a shortcut now. They don't want to put in their dues, they don't want to put in the work. But if you think about it, even in NBA, right, basketball players, these guys, they're doing about 15, 16, 17 years of work, playing basketball just to get to the NBA. They've been playing basketball since they were 3 years old, and they put their dues in. So for you to want a shortcut in 1 year, you're going to be wealthier, in 2 years, you're going to get out of your situation. Well, you should start thinking it more like, I might get out of my situation in 10 years. So how can I, manage, like, what can I do to manage it at the moment, in 2-3 years? So I can start to make some income for myself to kind of get out, start the steps to get out of my situation. Because of course you're not going to go from zero to, millions of dollars in 10 years. You're going to go from zero to, maybe the next year 10,000, the next year maybe 30,000 a year, the next year maybe 50,000 a year, the next year maybe 60,000, the next year maybe 80. So it's a small process, but you're gonna have to put those first few years of very little income, and you kind of got to get used to the process. So try to earn more, focus on earning more. Try your best to figure out ways on how you can add income streams to what you're doing right now. And just know that it's a process. Like, even if you're working 70 hours a week right now, or 80 hours a week, try and find ways on how you can then systemize your process. How can you eventually get to the point where you're working 30 hours or 20 hours a week and earning the same amount of money? So if you're working 80 hours a week, maybe start buying assets, start buying assets to start replacing a lot of the time that you're at work. So if you guys like this video, leave some advice below in the comments, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.